About 65,000 undocumented students graduate from U.S. high schools each year. Most are protected from deportation because of an Obama administration policy, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, which allows those brought here illegally at a young age to go to school and get work permits. President Trump tried to reassure those young people, often called dreamers, again this week that he does not plan to go after them. But a lawsuit filed last week claimed one dreamer has been deported, and DACA students are on edge. Special correspondent Kavitha Cardoza of our partner Education Week traveled to Los Angeles and spoke to 3 DACA recipients to see how their lives have changed. We have agreed to use only their first or middle names. This is part of our weekly series on education, Making the Grade.
Can you see the tip of the Hollywood sign now?
25-year-old Jose has something in common with President Trump. They both graduated from the prestigious business school, Wharton. Unlike many of his classmates, Jose did not choose a career on Wall Street.
You guys say 5 with me, and we keep going multiples of 5. 5.
Teaching 6th grade math is the most challenging thing I have ever done in my life. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
His students know he's a DACA recipient at a time when the federal government is cracking down on undocumented immigrants.
What number would represent that? I had a lot of students in tears asking me if I was going to be taken away and if they could hide me. I had students ask me if their parents were deported, if they were going to be allowed to leave with them or if they would become a part of the foster care system.
Immigration arrests are up 33% nationwide compared to the same 3 months last year. For Jose and others, this adds to the climate of fear.
ICE has basically set up shop at the Mexican grocery store, and they're there throughout the day. Now my mom's like, when we need to go to the store or something, we go out at night.
It's hard for me to talk about because I know there might be a chance that, like, I'm taken away, and that just scares me.
I tell my students they are important, that their families are important, that our community is important.
Of the approximately 11 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S., more than 750,000 have been granted DACA status. To qualify, they would have had to come to the U.S. as children, be in high school or graduated with no felony record. Randy Capps is with the Migration Policy Institute.
We don't usually punish children for the sins of their parents. Even if they had crossed the border illegally, they didn't know they were doing it. They were too young to know that.
He says the DACA population has the support of many Republican, business, and university leaders. Even President Trump, known for his tough talk on the campaign trail.
Anyone who has entered the United States illegally is subject to deportation.
Has softened his stance.
We're going to show great heart. DACA is a very, very difficult subject for me, I will tell you. To me, it's one of the most difficult subjects I have because you have these incredible kids. In many cases, not in all cases. In some of the cases, they're having DACA and they're gang members and they're drug dealers too. But you have some absolutely incredible kids, I would say mostly.
Trump's change in tone has not been popular with some of his supporters, like Iowa Representative Steve King. He says he'll never be convinced that the DACA program makes sense because illegal is illegal.
If you reward people for breaking the law, you get more lawbreakers.
He says DACA recipients compete for jobs with U.S. citizens and are an economic drain. According to a 2007 Congressional Budget Office report, undocumented immigrants overall do access more services than they pay in taxes. But DACA recipients who came to the States as children are mostly U.S. educated and far more likely to move up the economic ladder. King disagrees on principle.
It's an injustice to our founding fathers, to the people who have fought and bled and died for this freedom that we have, to simply give it away to people that have violated the law, while we have at least 5 million people outside America that are in line, that do respect our laws, that are waiting to come into America.
California has the highest number of DACA recipients. It's also among the most welcoming. DACA students here can get state loans for college, in-state tuition, and even a driver's license. Yet this year in California, financial aid applications for all undocumented students were down nearly 60%. because students feared revealing their status might put them at risk. Then a media campaign helped bring those numbers up. For Yael, a DACA student receiving financial aid at UCLA, today's rhetoric reminds her of how she felt in high school.
I wasn't able to say I'm undocumented without just bursting into tears. It was just like painful and heavy shame that I felt.
Yael came to the US when she was 4. She volunteers to help other undocumented immigrants in her free time.
I feel privileged to be here at UCLA. When I think about my future, unfortunately, everything seems really uncertain right now.
For high school senior Elena, classes are a refuge.
I motivated myself to take challenges like honors, AP classes, extracurricular activities.
Elena came here when she was 6. She has more than the typical teenage concerns.
The fear that my parents might be deported makes me feel both sad and scared at the same time. Like sometimes going to school, I'm worried, I'm like, what if I don't see my mom again?
Elena volunteers for the Big Brothers, Big Sisters program.
To your final destination. When I was a little girl, I didn't really have someone to be there for me because my parents, of course, they didn't understand the language. So when I had the opportunity to be in this program, I was like, yeah, I really want to do it because I want to help someone. Maybe they're in my situation or like a similar situation, so I want to be there for them.
If President Trump does not deport DACA recipients, Representative Steve King says he'll feel betrayed.
They can take up the task of rebuilding the countries that they come from. The education that they have with them, the language skills, the cultural skills, the experience of being here in America, I think it could be a fantastic improvement and one of the best things that America could do for everyone south of our border.
Daniel.
But Jose echoes thousands of other DACA recipients when he says he can't imagine returning to Mexico, a country he left when he was just 2.
Losing my job, losing the ability to teach my kids, being separated from my family. Losing everything that I know, I don't think it can get any worse than that.
I'm Kavitha Cardoza of Education Week, reporting for the PBS NewsHour from Los Angeles, California.